Dio, obviously you watched that from a rival's perspective tonight. Were you shocked to see this happen to Liverpool?
I was. I mean, I was shocked. I'm not gonna lie. I was shocked. That's all I can say. Like, it wasn't. This is as much as I hear Liverpool fans saying, "No, they're not playing well this season. They're lucky, or they've only been, getting by because of one reason or the other." Or they keep saying like their attack is shocking. Liverpool is still Liverpool, right? So there's a level of, hey, teams that you will play, and you shouldn't be losing 3-0 to Atlanta. To Atalanta, like that's not that shouldn't be happening. Regardless of what condition Liverpool is in. I mean, if you put Van Dijk and you put a striker up front and you put your goalie, you should still be able to conveniently beat Atalanta 2-1. Like, I'm taking the piss by saying that, but it's Liverpool. So for me, it's like I was shocked. The second goal, I was like, hold on, what's going on here? 2-0. 83rd minute, the third goal, and I was like, this is not happening. As a rival, I'm just like, this is a dream. It has to be a dream. Because in my head, I was like, Liverpool are going to go on and win the Europa in my head, and would challenge to the last day for the title, and Arsenal will win it. You heard it here first. But with this kind of display, I was flabbergasted. I was like, nope, it's not. This is not real. But it is. I mean, it's. I don't know if Klopp announcing that he's leaving, and the initial hype of it gave them that boost. At the very beginning of the season, like when they were like, "Oh, Klopp is leaving, let's do it for Klopp." But it's been going on so long, it's lost its steam. And now I'm saying on the mentality, like I'm saying on the mentality of the players. I'm not saying like, I'm not saying that's the reason, because it does
not the reason.
It's not. I'm not saying it's the reason. I'm saying, multiple things can be true at the same time, right? Which is, if you can play badly and you're mentally not ready for something. Those two things can happen simultaneously. I'm not saying this is the sole reason. I'm saying maybe it's just not. Maybe that's part of the things that they feel like Klopp is leaving and he's not. Whatever it is, it could be a mental thing as well.
But Dale, though, if you actually look at how we've been performing this season, it is our squad's quality in attack that has been getting us through these games. Look at when we beat Fulham. McAllister had to come up with a worldie. Endo had to come up with a worldie. Look at Sheffield. McAllister had to come up with a worldie. We've been saying this for years. You can't just rely on your players' quality to get through games. Look at United. I think it was under either Ralph or the beginning of Ole's tenure. United, they were getting through games because they had quality on the pitch, and that ran out and they became shit. And the problem with this Liverpool team is these guys are not the same guys who turned around Barcelona 4-0 at Anfield. They're not. You have Salah and Van Dijk who are getting towards the end of their careers. You have younger guys. And then you have a manager who is insisting on playing some guys we know are not good enough for this club, just because he just wants to romanticize everything. And today, the ugly side of Klopp and the ugly side of our club showed itself. We love romanticizing things and turning everything into a story. Why the fuck is Kostas Tsimikas still a Liverpool player? We all know he's not good enough, but he's still playing for our club. Why? James Milner, Jordan Henderson, all of these guys, they stayed too long. Why? Because everything needs to be romanticized. And nights like this come up and everyone acts surprised. How can this happen to Liverpool? We know why it happens.
I'm sorry, stop. Are you literally just calling now Tsimikas? When there was how many players on the pitch?
I'm not just calling out Tsimikas, bro. Let me finish. I'm not just calling out Tsimikas.
They called out other players as well.
If you actually let me finish, I'm going to call out the other players.
All right.
Thank you. Cool. Then you have Darwin Nunez, who can't hit the fucking side of a barn door. Why is he starting? Why do we have a manager like, I think it was Tom who said Cody Gakpo was having a very good game, and then all of a sudden he shifts how Gakpo was being implemented. Why? For what reason?
The issue is there, though, Sire. You've said why you're starting Nunez. There's literally not been anyone else to start, because the only player you would start ahead of him has been injured. So it'd start him or who? Because as you've just said, Gakpo's better on the left. So I don't want to play him up front because he's a bit ineffective up front at the minute. So I have to start Nunez. I just don't want the chances falling to Nunez, but they fall to Nunez. Certain players have been good this season, but everyone today let themselves down. I've been with you on Tsimikas that I don't think he's good enough. Tsimikas has had decent performances this season. This isn't a case of, this is exactly what we all knew was going to do. This result was coming. A result like this was coming.
So, yeah, it was.
This performance wasn't. The performance is the bigger concern here.
Well, tonight, it's just, I think it was like a perfect storm of everything. And I wanted to ask you this question, Rat, because I know you came on here a few months ago and was slaughtered for your conversation about Darwin Nunez, but I think his conversion rate is at 11%. Today, he has 4 shots, only 1 on target, which wasn't particularly good. I think he missed some gilt-edged chances. And I saw a compilation the other day that showed some huge chances of him missed in the Premier League, which if he scored would give you guys, I think, an extra 7 points. Is it time for Liverpool to start looking beyond Darwin Nunez this summer? Because he misses chances. I'm not saying he's a bad footballer overall, but is he just too wasteful with an 11% conversion rate, not scoring enough goals when it really matters? Or is there still a player in him you think can get Liverpool over the line?
Is there a player in him? Maybe. I don't think there's been anywhere near enough signs to say that that's the case. I mean, I haven't checked it recently, but back then when we were talking about it, we were looking at his actual goals versus expected goals per 90, right? Anyone knows about statistics will kind of understand where that's coming. That's how many goals you expect to score versus how many you're actually scoring based on the number of games you played. At that point, he was 510th out of 512 players in the Premier League. That's ridiculous. That was wow. Now look. Does he give us more than pure goals GA? Sure, maybe you can argue that. But is that to also potentially to the detriment of the team as a whole? I think there's a case to be argued for that as well. And look, again, we're fighting at the business end of the season. We want Klopp to have a good send-off. We want to win trophies. You know, I don't think right now Nunez is as effectual as other players potentially can, especially when the thing is, ultimately, we spent €100 million on him, or 100 million euros on him, right? That also brings added pressure, added expectation. And, I don't know. No, I'm not his biggest fan, and he's got massive deficiencies in his game.
Do you know, I hear where you're coming from. He scores some great goals. But when you look at a lot of his missed chances, they're unbelievable misses. You know, I think back to the one against Luton as an example. That's going to have a very, I assume, when it comes to what you've said, goals scored versus expected goals scored, that's going to be massive on that, because that's probably like a 0.99% chance of scoring. And I'm not trying to be hyperbolic here. I feel like just this season alone, he may have missed 5+ chances like that. And are other elite strikers missing that abundance of simple chances? His
decision-making's amazing. His decision-making. Darwin Nunez' decision-making is amazing at making the incorrect decision. Every single time he's in front of goal, he makes the incorrect decision. Even the goals he scores, I remember the one he scored against Brentford, that is the incorrect finish. You've just scored it. It's not the correct finish.
Right.
It's remarkable how consistently good he is at picking the incorrect finish. And today, you saw it again. Played through on goal by the one good thing Curtis Jones done today with that through ball. All you do is you either take it round the goalkeeper and tap it into the empty net, or you open your body up and put it in the far right corner. You don't try and chip the goalkeeper with the inside of your right foot. And that would never work. Why have you tried that? And he does this every single game. I like his work rate. His work rate's good. But ultimately, for an £80 million attacker, at points in a season where I need my big players to turn up, I do need more than running round and Nunez. I need more than that. You've had big moments this season, like against Forest away. But I can't expect that.
I'm sorry, this running around ain't going to cut it. It's not going to cut it anymore. I'm not going to lie to you. It ain't going to cut it. And I've been having so much grace on Nunez. He is just not that striker. So just say it now. It's just not that striker. He scores the hardest of chances, but misses the easiest of chances, which I do not get. Because you're going to get more easy chances than you get hard chances. So naturally, you're going to score more goals if you score your easy chances than the harder chances. And it's the thing of Tom hit it on the nail of the head. His decision making is so minus 10 IQ on the football pitch. It's unfathomable. Like, I can't fathom how he thinks sometimes. Let's take it back to the game against Man United. Diaz plays a brilliant ball to to Nunez. All he just has to do is look back and pass it to Szoboszlai or actually hit it on goal. Guess what he does? Yeah. Neither. Hits it straight across goal to I pray he wasn't even passing it to Diaz because he was unreachable at that time. But he hits it across goal. And you're looking at Nunez thinking,
do you know what I feel like you guys are going through a little bit? And I know you didn't quite have this with strikers in the 90s after the era of Ian Rush and what they won, because you had Owen. Prior to that, you had Fowler. But I think you had in other areas of the pitch where you had Mane, you had Firmino. Mo Salah is obviously still there. Maybe not quite the player he was overall, but he's still there. And so far, what you have purchased to replace those individuals just isn't of those standards. And what I'm seeing from Liverpool fans, and I understand it, is the give them time. And I understand you've got to give players time, a couple of years maybe. But the difference between you maybe and, say, Man United right now or Chelsea is you've got a manager that's been there, an assistant that's been there, and an infrastructure. You're in a process of sort of replenishing the squad, but it isn't other clubs in a rebuild, and it hasn't got a broken system per se. I think there's some issues with it. So when I look at someone like Nunez now getting towards 2 years in, you look at Gakpo by the end of this season, it's going to be 18 months in. To still hear, like, I was listening to Steve McManaman talk about, he needs time, still young lads. I'm sitting there thinking, have we not listened to what? I know it only came out about Man City when Man United got Omar Barada. But when you sit back and listen to that City press conference, and they're like, we essentially give players, to players, managers, coaches, scouts 2 years. And if you ain't delivering or you don't look like you're going to deliver, we move you on to keep processing. Liverpool Football Club don't want to do what they did in the 90s, in the 2000s, where you end up sticking with whether it's slightly or completely substandard players for more than a couple of years, because you did that before and look where you ended up as a football club. I think you need to be a little bit more ruthless and a little bit more honest with how these players are doing. Darwin, is he a good player? Yes. Is he going to be the guy to shoot you to a Premier League title? I'm not too sure. He's just not. He's just not going to be that guy.
The problem is that I've been saying this a lot recently, and I don't know if it's some people may be picking up on it or not, but people talk about a rebuild. Yes, and Klopp 2.0 and all this kind of stuff. The biggest players of the Klopp era, the most important players, in my opinion, in the Klopp era, are Alisson, Van Dijk, and Mo Salah. We have a situation where Van Dijk and Salah's contract end in 12 months' time, pretty much. It wouldn't surprise me. Salah, Terry's smiling. I know, I can see it.
I'm so happy.
So Salah may be gone this summer. I looked at Van Dijk's reaction after the Man United game when he came out and he said, "We did it to ourselves again." Right? That's not a positive. That's not a positive attitude to have, because ultimately, is there potential for Van Dijk to say, you know what, I'm going to be 33 years old next season. Let me go and have a last challenge, go and play in Barcelona for 2 years, or go and play in Milan for 2 years, or something like that. A different challenge. He's not going to stay in England, I don't think. I can see that happening, both as a footballer and as a person. That would be a good experience for him to have. And then Alisson, I think his contract ends the year after. Replacing those three players who have been the mainstays of our team in the Klopp era is going to be much more difficult than replacing any of the others, in my opinion. And I don't envy the new manager.
I totally understand that. I'm going to go to some